So I want to talk about this and the next slide in talking about social exchange theory. So let's get started. Social exchange theory is a really interesting concept, and I really think it's best described by looking at this case and then looking at the next slide. And so if you look on this slide here, it says that you had this great friend Cynthia, and you guys used to be really good friends. And then she gets into what you would consider a bad relationship, and now suddenly she just needs you all the time. It's, you're giving her advice, you're always trying to help, but this has been almost a year and it's starting to tire you out. And then I ask you to envision that you are at, dinner with a significant other, and she calls you. What do you do? Right? Now, it's really interesting when we're in class, normally my students will say, some of them will answer, right? Some of them will think, gosh, this could be a really bad thing, and I wouldn't want to be the person who left her, hanging when she was having an emergency. Some people completely ignore it. And it's really kind of funny because a lot of people go, well, I would text her and say, what's going on? What's up? Why are you calling me? And then I think that there's some personality differences there. But the initial reaction, what you had when you see her name on the dial, has to do with this theory called the social exchange theory. And I've actually linked to a page here so that you could read more about it if you're interested, because this isn't in your textbook. So social exchange theory, though, I think is a really interesting thing. And the one thing about it that I think is, I want to say before we talk about it, is that if you look at this in its bare bones format, it makes people come off as kind of selfish. That the only reason that we're in relationships is because we get something out of it. And that isn't necessarily what Hohmann is trying to convey here. However, he is saying that every relationship has costs and benefits, right? Every single relationship. We have, and if you have ever had someone who you felt is a quote unquote a user, someone who's always taking from you and never giving back, you know what this is about, right? Because a good, healthy relationship includes equality and exchange. Equality means that, the energy that we put in, we assume the person is going to put that same amount of energy into the relationship. And that's just this idea that, and by the way, not 50-50 all the time. Sometimes it's going to be 60-40, sometimes it'll be 70-30. It's going to seesaw back and forth. All relationships do. But it basically means that over the long term, we are going to be fairly equal in how much energy we put into a relationship. And I will tell you, the more intimate the relationship, the more tolerant of inequality over time we are. Generally with an acquaintance, if you put some energy in, you expect that the other person's going to put that energy in pretty quickly. If this is a marriage that might span a number of years, it might be, okay, I'm working on this relationship and putting in a lot of energy. You've got something going on, so you're not, and that's okay. I'll carry us for a while, and then you'll switch. Exchange basically means when we need somebody, they are there for us. They will do something for us. The easiest explanation of social exchange theory is equality and exchange is when somebody helps you move, okay? Think about it. When you ask somebody to help you move, you assume that they're going to buy you beer and pizza or soda and pizza for having helped you move, right? You usually feed them. And when they need help with, and you're going to say thank you, and you're going to put some energy into kind of expressing gratitude. And then when they say they need help moving, you're going to help them move, right? They're going to help you move, you help them move. It's an exchange. Now, again, though, there might be a case where, let's say you've got a friend who is, disabled and you help them move. It doesn't mean that you're going to assume that they're going to help you move even though they have a physical disability and can't do it, but that there might be something else that you can go to them for. And this is that internal sense of social exchange. What I think that you can use this for is, are you being a friend in this good way? Are you putting in what you asked to get out? Are you keeping up those, those things? When it comes to work acquaintances and as you're building your network, one thing that you may always want to do when you reach out to somebody new and you introduce yourself is, say, we met each other at this networking event and it was really interesting. I would love to hear about how you got into nursing and if you had any advice for me. All right. Ask them to help you on something. And then they can feel comfortable emailing you and asking you something. And then that can create that acquaintanceship relationship. And I've used that in a number of cases, building professional relationships and having that exchange. And it can work really, really well. So, takeaways. Make sure that you're putting out, you're putting into what you would like to get out. And then make sure that you're supporting the people around you and that they're supporting you in exchange. All right. Hope that that's helpful. See you in the next video.